intros are hard, so just do your best.
What is going on, everybody? My name is Conor and Lorraine. Welcome back to a week of Movie Mondays. This is the Heroes for Hire podcast. We are back again talking all the week's movie news, entertainment news, and just generally having a bit of a chit-chat about everything to do with film. As always, I am joined by my partner in crime, Mr. Shaun Meighan, a man who never interrupts any intros. Go on.
What? I never interrupt. That's not one of the bits that I do, Conor.
What nobody else heard, though, was just before I started, you said, intros are hard, don't fuck it up.
Look, who's to say who edited that out to make me seem better and make me seem like the victim in the intro, okay? Who's to say who did that?
I'll tell you who's the victim, Shaun, is us. Because
us?
What we discussed last week is the fact that, look, and this isn't sour grape, Shaun. Look, it's not like us to pick fights or rivalries unlike every other week. But
that are completely out of our weight class, by the way.
Always go for the rock. Always.
Find the biggest guy, take him down.
But last week we discussed the fact that James Gunn hadn't revealed the DC slate as of the recording on Sunday evening, Monday morning kind of vibes.
Yes.
And he said he was going to do it before the end of January. He released it on Tuesday. Of course he did. So we are now 6 days late to reviewing what was revealed in the DC slate. And it's probably the biggest news we've had in a few years.
In a long time. Certainly and look, a bit of a spoiler, certainly the most welcome news that I've heard. So, and not to say that James Gunn hates the podcast, but I think James Gunn hates the podcast, personally.
I think you specifically. I heard it was you.
See, because the thing, like, why should we move Movie Mondays at this point? Because all of the news, Marvel and DC, seems to come out on Tuesdays.
So yeah, and we just end up looking like we're well behind the time. So, I mean, this is kind of like just an admin meeting at this point with everyone.
It is, yeah.
Should we do like a Tuesday Mondays? Wait, no. It's Tuesday. A movie Tuesdays? Just, it doesn't have the same ring.
Tuesday Mondays, we've done that before.
Tuesday Mondays, that's really good. Wednesday Mondays, that's excellent.
No, Wednesdays is booked up with weird news.
Fuck yeah.
So yeah, we're kind of lost there.
If this is your first episode, we normally don't cover admin at the start of the show. And if it's your second episode, or even more episodes than that, if you could give us a like and review, whatever podcast platform that you're listening to this on, it would really help us out.
Can I just say as well, we also said last week that Zachary Levi seems like a nice man, and then on Tuesday he tweeted a lot of anti-vax stuff.
I seen that.
I was like,
I had the Ralph Wiggum, you can see when his heart breaks moment, and I went, no.
There was a great tweets out of it though, being like, James Gunn saving the DC universe, remaining DC actors. Being like questioning.
Let's set fire to the whole thing.
Oh God.
At least Letitia Wright waited. She was a year out from Wakanda Forever. So like, let it die down. Whereas Zachary, you're promoting it like, it's in February or March.
Just don't make yourself controversial for a while.
So look, I had a bit of a struggle putting this week's episode together because obviously there's a whole shit ton of announcements and reveals in regards to DC.
Yes.
But I also didn't want to just spend the whole episode talking all the DC stuff. So what I've cleverly done is we're going to start off with some other news that is just kind of general news. And then, about, I would say, maybe 20 minutes in, when we've run out of boring shit to talk about, we're going to get into what was announced, what was not announced, and what we like or dislike. You probably dislike it all, because you're a Marvel fanboy, you love the mouse, and you hate everything else, you bastard. Go on, Shaun.
What am I meant to pick up from there? What talking point have you given me? Fuck you.
Yes, and fuck you. Interesting, okay. So we're going to start off this week, Shaun, with one of my favourite new current segments we're doing on Movie Mondays, which is, what do we cover on a weekly basis nowadays?
Is this speculation on who's going to play Mr. Fantastic?
Marvel is eyeing Dev Patel for Fantastic Four reboot, says another rumour.
Like, Dev Patel seems like a fine choice, but this is just like, what's the story here? Is that there's a rumour that a good actor might be cast in a film?
A new rumour suggests that Marvel is eyeing the actor Dev Patel for a major role in the MCU's Fantastic Four reboot, being Reed Richards. Now, I would not normally cover this. It's not really news. But Sean, it's because there's been so many rumours of so many people playing Fantastic Four. I think it becomes funnier with every new rumour. So, last week we had Gosling. A few weeks before that, it was the guy from You.
Penn Badgley, yes.
Penn
Before
Badgley.
that, it was Krasinski.
Oh, Krasinski was locked in, and now we've got Dev Patel. This is shaping up to be like the strongest Fantastic Four movie of all time. All four of them playing Reed Richards simultaneously.
That does happen in Jonathan Hickman's run on Fantastic Four. There is the Council of Reeds, so you could do that down the line in the future. Now,
you could do like a thing from Fan 4 Stick where Sue Storm's hair changes scene to scene because of all the reshoots, but you just do a reshoot where Penn Badgley walks in and then Dev Patel walks out.
He's got a mouldable face, you know, he's a stretchy man. I will say I prefer Dev Patel over Ryan Gosling for Mr.
Makes
Fantastic.
more sense.
Yeah. And I feel that they would, I do think they are going to go a more endearing Mr. Fantastic in the MCU, I would say.
We forgot Adam Driver, by the way. He was also announced like 4 weeks ago.
He was also in the running. Oh, Adam Driver or Dev Patel? Who would I prefer? I think I would prefer Dev Patel for Mr. Fantastic and Adam Driver for Doom.
I could see that more. I think Adam Driver has a hint of like he could be Doom, like he has that edge to him. Whereas I think Dev Patel could bring a human side to Reed Richards that he sorely lacks.
Absolutely, and I think Dev Patel would be more... He has more of what I think of as the build of Mr. Fantastic, whereas Adam Driver, big wide boy, could be like a big intimidating Doctor Doom. And we know he'll do a lot of acting work in a mask as well, which is pretty good.
Also, I mean, so far the rumours are, other than all of the, so you have Patel, you have Adam Driver, Diego Luna was also rumoured to be Reed Richards at one point.
Yeah, don't mind that.
Ryan Gosling, then you got Krasinski, then you got Penn Badgley. So there's the 6 of them, they're all playing them at the exact same time. On the opposite side, Elvis star Austin Butler, still talking in the Elvis accent, is rumoured to be lobbying to play Johnny Storm, Human Torch. Then you also have the Killing Eve's Jodie Comer. Jodie Comer is now going to be Sue Storm. So none of this is confirmed. All of it's rumour. Everyone could be anyone, and none of them could be any of them also.
That's the thing. And still no rumoured casting for The Thing either.
Well, no, that's Michael Chiklis. No matter what happens, Chiklis is locked in.
Getting Chiklis back, absolutely. If he wasn't already John Walker, I think Wyatt Russell would be a pretty good Bren Grimm. Just in terms of acting.
In my head, Chiklis is waiting by the phone. He sees all what's going on, all the rumours going around for all the other castings, and he's just kind of thinking, well, there's only one man, like me or Jamie Bell. And I don't think Jamie's coming back.
In a fist fight, I mean, Chiklis has it. You know?
Oh, Chiklis, one punch. Game over.
It's not even a fight at that point. But, the trend of just, famous actor could be Mr. Fantastic. Yeah. I like that it's a recurring segment, but I don't know how much mileage we can get out of it other than
I just feel like it becomes more and more ridiculous every week because I think what happens is every single week they throw a dart at random white men in Hollywood or random men who have been lead actors in other projects, and they're like, they're Reed Richards. Now they're locked in as Reed Richards. Of course they are. Jodie Comer is probably the only one that has been rumoured for Sue Storm. I think that's very good. If you got Jodie Comer and Austin Butler as Sue Storm, Johnny Storm, that's a pretty powerful duo.
I think they would play off each other quite well as well. Just in terms of that. What I want to do, and we'll kind of take charge of this segment, I think, is who are they going to predict next? We try and call it for next week.
Okay. Right. So They have to have hair.
Yeah.
They have to be like handsome leading man.
Let's say between 30 and 40, maybe.
It has to be 30 and 40.
Or can play 30 and 40, I would say.
Oh. What about Schmidt from Max Greenfield from New Girl?
I mean, not a bad choice. On a similar note, I would say Glenn Howerton from Always Sunny.
That's always your pick. So that but I think so we've got comedy. Now we need to pick like someone who's been in movies that they can reroute towards this movie.
Who's people not to fucking cast aspersions, but like people who have been in actual movies.
No, as in like a big movie in the past 2 years. You have to be in a big movie in the past 2 years to qualify apparently for this weird rumour mill that they just randomly pick people.
Okay, and I'm going to have to Google this. What movies came out in the last 2 years? I know
what movies ever came out?
I know the basis of this show is all about movies and how we know things about movies, but
Robert
Jesus
Pattinson.
Christ, I cannot think of any.
Timothée Chalamet, Robert Pattinson.
Chalamet couldn't do it. Robert Pattinson, I don't think he wants to.
Tom Holland is already locked in. You can't do him.
Yeah. Brendan Fraser, probably pretty busy, I would say.
Bill Nye.
Bill Nye?
I have it.
Go for it.
Damn it, he's already in it. But Barry could do. Paul Mescal. Reed Richards.
Okay, I'm going to throw something at you, Connor. And I think Paul Mescal, we're saving him for down the line. You know, I think he's going to be an X-Man. He might be Cyclops. Now,
I need you to predict this, because this is where we earn our chops here. So go on, whoever you say next, they're definitely going to be predicted.
Donal Gleeson. Think about it.
Think about it.
Could work.
Rachel McAdams, Sue Storm. Think about it.
Bill Nye, The Thing.
Bill Nye is the thing. Bill Nye is the thing. Oh, Bill Nye is the thing. Who's left? So you got Johnny
Paul
Storm.
Mescal in then as Johnny Storm.
Yeah, Paul can come in to do Johnny Storm, and you've got the perfect casting for this movie. I'd like to see Bill Nye play Ben Grimm.
I will also accept Colin Farrell as Ben Grimm.
To be fair, the nicest man in the world. Yeah. That's good.
Like
and
Zachary
I think he'd
Levi,
like that. Yeah. And Zachary Levi, the other nicest man in the world. He does his own research as that guy. Fair play to him. I don't know who they're going to pick, but I hope now that you've said it, Donal Gleeson. Currently watching The Patient with him and Steve Carell.
Very good. We finished that the other
night. Excellent.
Really good. Really enjoyed that.
And they're only 20-minute episodes.
Yeah, breeze through. We were watching it week on week. It was torture. But
oh no.
Yeah.
No.
Real good though. Real good.
Real good. Steve Carell is fucking Steve Carell, Ben Grimm.
Oh, that would work well actually. I mean, he might be a bit old.
De-age him.
Just Donal and Steve had such a good time doing The Patient.
Yeah. Do it again.
We just simply had to cast them in Fantastic Four.
You know what would be so funny? If you cast Steve Carell in the Fantastic Four movie and then Krasinski was out as Reed Richards and everyone's like, for fuck's sake.
God damn it.
One chance. So yes, Dev Patel, an excellent actor, is one of those where we can't even give it a second thought because he's so excellent, but at the same time there's loads of people that are excellent that they're just running through them. So we're going to move on to our next piece of news, and I'm excited to know what's going to happen with that movie. I'm excited to know what rumour's going to pop up next week of who's playing
wait
who.
patiently and see.
Gosling was the most laughable. There's no way Gosling signed on.
No way that's happening at all.
We're moving on, Shaun, to a bit of news in regards to Tomb Raider. So you might remember a few years ago Tomb Raider was rebooted again.
It was like the game or the movies?
So the movie. So Alicia Vikander. Do you remember that in 2018? Was it or something like that?
And magic's not real, but it is real. But she still doesn't believe it's real or something.
So they wanted to reboot it, and then for the last few years they've been working on how are they going to do another movie. Never really got off the ground, but now we've learned that Tomb Raider will be getting its own TV series for Amazon. It'll be an Amazon exclusive, and I'm like, okay, that's pretty good. But the person writing and working on it is Miss Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who will be writing and producing the Tomb Raider TV series for Amazon.
Very interesting.
Interesting. That seems like a very strong duo to put together.
It does. It does seem like you give Phoebe Waller-Bridge Amazon money to make a very good Tomb Raider adventure TV series.
I think she's like along the lines of like Matt Reeves or like or Greta Gerwig or like someone just. We're just like, they're really good. If they're on a project, it's probably real good. Yeah,
has proved countless times how talented they are. Like Fleabag, everyone, like, of course it's the example to use, but like, it's just such a good fucking solid series that's completely different than anything else in the genre. Just give that woman all the money in the world to do whatever she wants. Now I will, like, and also she will have, because a lot of the Amazon series are really good. The Boys is class, Invincible, really, really good, and others. But then you have occasionally a Rings of Power, which is
excellent.
Absolute dog shit, in my opinion. It's the most expensive TV show ever made, and it lost me after an episode and a half. And I love Lord of the Rings, but it had fuck all to do with Lord of the Rings. So, if you give someone the creative control and just the freedom to just be like, just tell a story in the Tomb Raider world, I think that's a better way of doing it than, okay, now you need to adapt Tomb Raider, the 2016 game, perfectly, and just make that for Amazon on screen.
And I think, I mean, I'm trying to figure out a way to ask is there a market for a Tomb Raider series? But I think there is. I think actually the Tomb Raider project works a lot better in terms of like a series.
I think so, especially if you go from the more recent games. They're more RPG and story based rather than the other ones, which are just kind of like platformy adventure games.
I'm kind of thinking like all of the island scenes in Arrow, like the TV show, but like in a Lara Croft Tomb Raider kind of situation.
If Uncharted can get a mildly successful movie out of it, I think Tomb Raider deserves at least a season to prove it.
Actually, that's a good point, is that the Uncharted movie is just fine. And I'm like, I would use that as evidence to be like, we could tell a much better story in a series over 6 half-an-hour long episodes, and we work it through that way. I don't want a fucking crazy shit like a 15 episode season, like fuck that. But like, you do 6 episodes, I think you could pack in a really, really good story, and especially with Phoebe Waller-Bridge there writing it. I think it could be really, really strong from Amazon's point of view. It could also be shit, but I'm hoping it's good.
That's true, and like I hope they lean away from some of the just fight a big monster at the end. I'd rather it be just like subtly weird and pseudo-magical, but mostly it's about treasure hunting.
You're looking for a certain national treasure movie to be remade with Lara Croft.
I think that's exactly what I'm looking for, honestly. Yes. Just a good old-fashioned treasure hunt.
I want like her to solve riddles. Like I want the riddles to make no fucking sense. Like sunlight has to hit a certain stone at a certain angle to open the gate. You can only move the
stone by spinning around some stick that's in the wall or some shit.
And the birds like they crow out a song note, and you have to find the right note to put into the stone to open the gate.
I think it's Tomb Raider Underworld. But you break into a tomb and you fight a T-Rex, I'm fairly sure.
Maybe don't do that.
But I just remember that's what happened.
Do you remember when she fought those dogs in Lara Croft Tomb Raider 2?
Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, that was...
Yeah, you want her to fight some dogs in this series.
Yeah, I just fight some 2 big fucking dogs. No, what I want the dog from Harry Potter, the first one, the 3-headed dog, Fluffy. I want Fluffy to come back, make its big screen re-debut, and just eat Lara Croft.
All right, I'll get Phoebe on the phone. We'll discuss
To be
that,
continued to pop up at the end. And it's just like her legs like shaking over its mouth.
And then we release episode 2, and it's literally just her dead, and the dog goes back to sleep.
And the dog crying. Just like, what did I do?
The dog has to come to terms with the guilt. Yeah. That's great. That's great.
I think, and then you change the focus from the tomb raiding to the dog's sadness and trying to overcome the depths of sadness that he's feeling due to the fact that he caused death.
He turns to drink.
Yeah. He turns to drink and then ultimately decides that raiding tombs isn't for him.
Yeah. He retires in misery, lives in squalor, and it's not a happy ending, Conor.
And the last line, it's a woof life, and Phoebe Waller, you can take that. You can Phoebe, honestly, you can have that for free, but somebody has to look at that dog and say, it's been a woof life, and then cut to black. That's all we want.
And that's the end of episode 3.
So 4 then comes out. Just keep going.
4 then comes out, and it's a dream that the dog has in his dying moments.
It just gets worse and worse.
And Tom Holland is playing a young bartender.
Mark Wahlberg is there for some reason, but he's his character from Transformers.
Do you know in Transformers, apparently Sam Witwicky, Shia LaBeouf's character in Transformers, apparently he's canonically dead in that Transformers universe.
I think they killed him to not bring him back,
Killed him off screen, because when Optimus Prime, and here they call him Amazon Prime, when Optimus Prime is reintroduced, he like turns on and he just goes, Sam, run, and then that's apparently the confirmation of Sam's death. He gets killed in that last fight
because he didn't run fast enough.
Because he's a human man with legs.
He's a human man with legs. But did Optimus Prime not do like next day delivery and like catch him? No.
So, no, because he's Optimus Prime, he's not Amazon Prime, you see.
Sorry. No, I've mixed
they both
that
have
up.
Prime in the name. Like that fucking drinks brand. There's the search engine optimization. Prime energy drink. I don't know what it's about.
It's a drink. Good stuff, guys.
Gives energy, apparently. It's hard to find. People are doing fake ones, I think.
How do you do a fake drink?
I'd wager like the liquid it's more of the label that people are buying it for. You know? You just fake it.
Me and you, obviously, we're kind of, we go after the labels ourselves. We're label guys.
That's true.
I'm sitting here in my Ralph Lauren like top and my Chanel sneakers.
There you go. I'm wearing a white t-shirt and grey tracksuit pants. I don't know where they're
from. For Halloween every year, we put on a black bag. And no matter what you were, you wore a black bag.
You had maybe a mask and some kind of prop. If you were, it was usually a scythe or a devil pitchfork.
Oh, I was a devil for many a year.
I've been many a devil. Had Grim Reaper one year, that was pretty good. Vampire. Darth Vader I went as. Black bag came in really handy that year.
Really saved time. I must say, this might be our worst episode.
What? No, we've had worse episodes.
We've definitely had worse.
Listen to next week's one.
No, I can't wait.
It's gonna be shit.
We're moving on, Sean, to our next piece of news, and I knew this was news you were waiting for, and that is Bad Boys 4 is happening, because the last one was called Bad Boys 3 4 Life, and now this one is Bad Boys 4 3 Life, I can only assume.
Bad Boys
and it's about
5
nature. 5 ever. Will Smith, Martin Lawrence, they have officially announced that this is Will Smith's big comeback, and he's doing Bad Boys 4.
Let's hope it doesn't get too successful that it's nominated for any awards.
I don't think there'll be any issue with that.
Wasn't Bad Boys for Life one of the top grossing movies of 2020 because it came out just before COVID or something?
Yeah, I seen it in the cinema. It was actually better than it had any right to be. I'll be honest with you.
It was that. Yeah,
it was better than it needed to be, which I would give it the ultimate respect, because I'm like, I was expecting terrible, and it was grand. You'd watch it.
And was it left off in a good place that it deserves a fourth movie, do you think?
I mean, this is pre-pandemic. Do you think I can remember a movie from January of 2020 pre the whole pandemic?
No. Probably
That
not.
is the correct answer. I seen it once. I'm trying to remember. Did anyone die? I think, no, they were both still alive, but they were very old. They were too old for this shit at the end of the last one. So I assume they're still too old, maybe even older, but they're out of retirement for one last job.
Do you think they get pulled back in, like they're already retired? Or is it like 2 weeks from retirement situation?
I'm pretty positive Martin Lawrence was retired in the last one and then came out of retirement because Will Smith was like still trying to be young and hip. And he was like, I need your help, partner. These people are killing people.
I have no desire to see Bad Boys for Life. So I have no desire to see the next Bad Boys movie, I will be honest. Again, as we determined last week, Conor, I don't like movies anymore.
That is actually, if you missed the ending of Movie Mondays last week, Shaun decided after a whole hour of talking about Oscars that he didn't like movies.
It was a very real personal moment that just slipped out on Mike.
Yeah, I've had several messages during the week of just, is he alright? Is he okay?
Or is that a bit?
No.
Oh, good. Good, thank God. No, don't worry about me. I'm already dead.
That's actually worse. I shouldn't have set you up for that.
Nah, no one cares. It's fine.
Did you actually? Do people care? No, they don't.
No, heavens no, Sean.
No, and actually, people were against it viciously. They were like, get him off the show. If he's against movies, get him off it.
Get in someone who likes movies. Keep him for
so
weird
I'm
news,
bringing in
though,
Mark Wahlberg next week and Zachary Levi. They're my new 2 co-hosts. I think it's going to be a good one.
Look, I'm sure you'll get listenership, I will be honest.
Ezra's coming in.
My God, what a foursome that'll be.
So look, and obviously Jared is replacing me.
Jared is oh, you're leaving as well.
Oh, I'm leaving. If Jared's coming, I'm leaving.
I want nothing to do with that, man.
So, Sean, before we get into DC news, one last thing I wanted to cover is that they're doing a Michael Jackson biopic. Did you hear this? He's being played by his nephew. I have one question. Should we really do a biopic for this man?
No, I don't think so. Look, he made some very good music.
Oh, good music.
There was also all kinds of allegations and things.
Did they touch on that? It was easier
Is it going to
when
be addressed
at
all, is my question.
It was easier when it was Elton John.
Yeah, somehow that was easier to cover in a biopic.
And like Elton John and then like Whitney did drugs but like to herself, and that movie doesn't really cover it. This is a bit more left field. I don't know how you kind of cover the later years, but cover the good music. But it'll have a fucking great soundtrack.
Though I'm sure the soundtrack will be great. Maybe that's it. That they just want to re-release a load of music. But like, I maybe just don't make this one. You know, just if I could suggest that it's not worth it.
Oh man, I seen that news and I was just like, oh, that'll have great tunes, but at the same time, it's difficult.
About it, the worse an idea it becomes.
On surface level, fucking fantastic idea. But then like you think about, for the longer you think about it, you're like, wait, how are they gonna cover all that other stuff?
I don't know if the title has been announced either, but they're going to call it Moonwalk or some shit, aren't they?
I know, I think it's just called Michael.
Ah, right, bold move.
There's been lots of Michaels, but I suppose he is one of the big ones.
He's one of the most memorable ones, yeah. For better or worse.
The official name of Mickey Mouse, obviously, so Michael Mouse, so it'd be hard to not mix them two up.
That's and then Michael Chiklis, famed actor of The Thing.
I'm going to walk in thinking it's Michael Chiklis.
What's going on? What's all this singing about?
When are they getting to Rise of the Silver Surfer? What's all this dancing they're doing? Sean, I think it's time. I think it's time that we finally tackle the big news story that's 6 days old, because all movies are bastards. Sean, the DC slate. It has finally been unveiled. The big plan. So, obviously DC's had a rough few years. Due to the fact they kept making bad movies and then changing the movies and then hiring people that were alright. But now they've got a plan. They've got Peter Safran, they've got James Gunn, they're in. They had one winner last year, Robert Pattinson's The Batman, but that's not technically part of their universe, so they had to create their own universe.
But they're now officially calling it Elseworlds, which is pretty cool.
That is true, and that's very comic booky. You always have some sort of Elseworlds thing going on. I kind of like that. But Sean, James Gunn has announced the whole new DC slate. This will cover theatres and TV screens, and the DC studios are now doing a full-pronged attack. Just as everyone's getting so excited about all of the Marvel properties we're seeing on streaming services and movies, this is the perfect time to launch this, is it not?
It's it's nice that there's a plan. You know,
Yes.
That's super refreshing to hear, that there's at least been thought put into where the thing is going and what the stories are going to do to help it get there.
Yeah, I think it's different levels. I think like Marvel is the kid that's got all A's for years, so when they start getting B's, you're like, what's going on, lads? I'm starting to get a bit. But the DC kid is the guy sticking the crayons up his nose, and then he suddenly is like, I'm studying for this test, and he pulls out a C+. If he pulls out a B, you're like, fucking fantastic.
Fair play to you, lad. You really turned it around.
You've never had a plan before.
Yeah, and like he was saying the plan is for the next like 10 years.
Yes.
Now, that's an exhausting concept to think of.
Way too long. Way too long.
It's too long. No, it's not even that it's too long. It's just like, oh man, 10 more years of just everything, you know, all the time.
This is going back to last week.
No, I'll dial it back. Sorry.
We have to be excited about living, Sean.
I don't think I'm not gonna.
That's rule one.
Excited about life. But it was confirmed then that The Flash is still going ahead, Aquaman is still going ahead,
yes,
Blue Beetle is still going ahead,
yes, as of right now,
which is great news, and Shazam is still going ahead.
Unfortunately, yes.
Flash is confirmed to reset the universe, but Aquaman and Blue Beetle are coming out after Flash.
Yes.
So does that mean that they're in the reset universe? Or that it's a before the reset story that's being told?
They might get away with it with Aquaman in that he's underwater. No, we can't see what's happening on Earth.
Deep in the trench.
He's deep in the trench. Blue Beetle, I think they might get away with it because they just keep it as like a standalone story. Don't touch on anybody else. Then you can kind of keep this new character there.
Blue Beetle could actually be a nice way to... Because he comes back from the future. No, that's Booster Gold I'm thinking of.
That's Booster Gold, yeah.
Never mind.
So the first chapter will be called Chapter 1, God and Monsters. And we basically got revealed of all the projects they're doing. It's also been mentioned that some of them will be PG-13, some of them will be rated R. So they're all going to be...
The ones that need an R rating will actually be like, I suppose, faithfully adapted.
I think that's what they're going with. So they're going with, it's going to start at a PG-13, and if the project needs it, they can move it to R depending on the project that they're going to put out. So like a Suicide Squad movie could be an R, and they have a Swamp Thing movie, that will be probably an R as it's a horror movie, but then the Superman movie probably doesn't need to be an R. PG-13.
Just snapping necks left
Just
and right.
snapping necks all over the place.
That's Pa Kent's neck. That's how he dies in this one.
That scene was going around Twitter this week again of like Pa Kent in the tornado, and everyone was like, it's such a good scene because he can't control his powers, and I'm like, it's a much better scene when Pa Kent has a heart attack because then Clarke is the only thing Clarke can't stop.
Like he's the strongest man in the world, but doesn't matter, he can't stop a fucking heart attack. So now we kind of know what's being put out. So a few of them are obviously for HBO Max or like for streaming services. Like for example, Waller, Viola Davis is coming back as Amanda Waller in her own like small little series, written by the writer of Watchmen and the creator of Doom Patrol. So like
she's coming back. Obviously, people were like, but why is Viola Davis coming back? But then the follow-up to that should always be, well, it's Viola Davis, you fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Obviously.
As of, like, what, fucking yesterday, EGOT winner? Is she?
If they have Viola Davis, I don't give a fuck what changes you make to the rest of the universe. You keep Viola Davis around because she's real good.
She can be the fucking constant in this world.
Yeah. And also, she's great. She's great casting as Amanda Waller, so why not? So the first movie that will launch these new movies, or this new slate, will officially be Superman Legacy. Which will they're starting with a Superman movie again. The release date is July 11th 2025. It's been penciled in, and so Peter Safran was kind of talking about it, and to kick it off, he said it's not an origin story. This Superman is not an origin story, first and foremost. It focuses on Superman balancing his Kryptonian heritage with his human upbringing. He's the embodiment of truth, justice, and the American way. He is kindness in a world that thinks that kindness is old-fashioned. That's how they pitched it.
God, this sounds like the animated Superman, doesn't it?
I mean, you could just do that Superman, it'd be real good.
Be real good, right? Like, there's a lot of good in that show that you could take a lot from. Also kind of sounds a little bit Smallville-y. Yeah, just in terms of
Are you saying Somebody Save Me should be played at the start of this movie?
Wouldn't it be mad? All I'm saying, wouldn't it be mad if they played Somebody Save Me at the start of this
Get
movie?
Welling back in. Welling is around. Get him back, right?
It's mad that he didn't come back for the Arrowverse at all. Like
he came back for the Crisis. What the Crisis is?
Did he come back, or did they recast him in that?
No, he came back for like the very last one, I think.
Oh, okay, yeah, there was a few crises, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was like one at the end of every season, but there was one where him and Lois Lane were married on a farm, and Tom Welling was there. Yeah.
Okay, I'd allow it so. But I like the idea of just a happy, not miserable Superman movie. That sounds great.
It seems interesting to do that character as maybe a happy character. I mean, it's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off.
Maybe as a counterpoint to a darker, more cynical character that we might meet down the line.
But then ultimately the two of them end up becoming respectful for each other's ways. Even though that they are completely different, they will still respect each other's at how they get things done, because they know that the other person is coming from the right place.
Why, those two people could only be described as the world's finest superheroes.
It'll never work. We gotta have him dark too.
They need to fight, and the first time they meet, fight to the death.
One of my favourite comic book panels of all time, I think it's from like a Super Sons comic. It's Catwoman and Batman going to meet Lois and Clarke. And it's like, it just basically shows like, it's like the couple coming to a party, right? So they know they're going like a double date. And it's Catwoman and Batman on the rooftops, and they're like jumping along. And Bruce is like, Clarke is the greatest man alive. Like, he literally came from nothing. His whole planet exploded. He's the only person left. And he just literally strives for good and decency. And then it cuts to Superman, and he's talking to Lois, and he's like, literally, Bruce is the greatest man. He came from such depths of darkness and sadness, and he's used that. And it's literally like, I don't know how many pages it is, but it's one of my favourite comic book reads. I'm just like, you see these two people that are just like, he's the greatest. Like, the two of them like idolise each other, and then when they meet up, they're just like, how's it going? Yeah, hi. Yeah, and they just like play cool. Just like never tell each other how they feel.
It's like any time we meet up, Connor.
Of course. You're constantly telling me how great I am.
And you are silent for the most part.
Very silent. I do like that they're starting with Superman, because I think it would be very easy to start with Batman. I think I thought they'd be quite scared of Superman to start with. But I think it's like straight out, guns on the table. Look, this is it. This is what we're starting with. Superman's got to start this.
Absolutely, and it also has the benefit of it gives Matt Reeves' Batman time to breathe as well, and to be like the ongoing Batman series for a little while, because you're still getting the best of both worlds. DC is still getting money from both of them. but you just have to focus on Superman at the start.
And I mean, obviously it's going to be a slightly confusing with people like, oh, why are there two Batmans? But at the same time, I think people have a brain, and they can be like, well, this is just like, in comic books it happens all the time. It's just like, this is not in canon, but this is a cool story I just thought up, and we're just going to write one novel about it. And then they release it, they're like, oh, that's fucking great.
Movies are explaining time travel and multiverse in 30 seconds every fucking 6 months at this point. Audiences are generally on board with the concept, I feel.
And also, it's going to be a younger cast for everything at the minute. So they're taking like a younger Superman, but he also has been Superman for a little bit. The
casting rumours for these are going to be
mad.
Fucking nightmare.
It's going to be an absolute nightmare. They're going to cast every white guy with black hair under 35 will be rumoured for this role.
Penn Badgley.
Actually, you could just take the exact same rumours and just move it across. I'd like to see someone who's not well known, perhaps. I mean, why not?
Kind of like Henry Cavill when he was cast in Man of Steel. Like, he wasn't a super famous star at that point.
The issue is, I mean, Henry Cavill is kind of the perfect casting. Like, they already got the perfect casting, they just fucked it up. So, will they get that lucky again, is the question.
Yeah, it needs to be someone, and it can't be just like, oh, they look like Superman. They need to like Chris Evans for Captain America.
Yeah,
you need that level of, no, this person just embodies the character.
And the thing about this is, Superman movies will get better the bigger the world is, and I think that's literally the same with Captain America. So the first Captain America movie is fine,
it's grand,
it's grand, right? But he works way better when you put him in the modern times and you have all these other things going on around him, and he's like, we should stick to the good, like we should try and be our best, and everyone's like, yeah, but this is for the greater good, we're just gonna like do this, like this underhanded tactic for the greater good. Then you have a compelling character there.
Yeah, like Captain America in the Marvel universe he's old school values and principles and things like that.
Not in a racist way.
No, in like, you know, in a just decency and fairness kind of a way. But Clarke is like, he's small town values, where it's like, no, family and looking after people and helping where you can. That's what he brings to the table as the super powerful alien outsider.
And I always find Superman as a character is so much more interesting when you surround him with other people, and he's like the only level head in the room. And he's like, this is fucked. Like, what we're doing here is fucked. And I'm also the most powerful, but I'm not going to be like the most vocal. I'm just like, this is real bad.
Yeah, and that's why Superman doesn't have to be a boring character. Because, yeah, he has all these powers and he's basically unstoppable. But he will refuse to do something because he doesn't believe in it.
Yeah.
And like, he has to grapple with that. Like, that's his conflict.
And he's the only person left of all of his kind. I think I just genuinely recommend those panels to anyone. I think it's literally a Super Sons comic book. I could be wrong there, but yeah, it's so that like perfectly encapsulates why these two characters work well together and why they could also work separately. And so Superman Legacy, I think, is a great start. Don't do an origin story. I'm interested to see how they go. I hope it goes well, and it's not tame enough that people are like turned off immediately and they're like, oh, this is a boring new remake of Superman, yada yada yada, all the usual shit that you hear.
And this is the Superman movie. I think it is James Gunn written and directed is how it's going to be as well.
I think it's written by James Gunn. I don't know if it's being directed by James Gunn.
Okay, written anyway, but he is creating the Superman that he wants for his DC universe. So at least there's that
and I think that's
consistency
good
from the start. Yeah.
And so we also have Lanterns, which is going to be a Green Lanterns TV show, which is pretty cool, which will be worked on by Greg Berlanti, who's been, he's been working on Arrow, Flash, all that whole universe for years and years. And so he'll be doing a Green Lantern show, which our vision for this is very much in the vein of True Detective, Peter Safran said.
Cool.
It will feature prominent Lanterns heroes like Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart. And this plays a really big role in leading into the main story we are telling across film and TV. So what'll probably happen is it'll cover Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart on Earth. There's maybe something happens in space. The Lanterns have to go and try and stop it, and that might lead into a big bad coming to Earth that will lead to the team up of the Justice League, I assume.
That makes sense, that level of threat is what's needed to bring the Justice League together. And are we saying that they're already the Lanterns at this point? Like, you're not going to have the Ring finding or choosing one? Or do you bring in one of them as the rookie?
Yeah, I think that's how you do it. I think if you're doing True Detective, you either pick Hal or John, and one of them is the rookie, and one of them is has been there for a few years on Earth and is like teaching him the ropes of how it all works.
And by extension, teaching us how it all works.
Yeah. I hope that's a good show. Lanterns haven't really had anything to do with like TV or series or anything. So I'm interested to see if they can play it off. Like, we had that one movie with Ryan Reynolds, real bad.
Famously bad.
But Green Lantern's a really cool character. We talked about Kyle Rayner on the show for Hero Zero. Kyle Rayner's so fucking cool.
Kyle Rayner's really, really fucking cool. I really like cool. Kyle Rayner. So I know, and I think at least you're not trying to shoehorn all the Green Lantern stuff into a 2.5 hour movie. Like, you can spread it out over a longer time.
They also have announced Paradise Lost, which is
Paradise Lost.
Did you hear about this one?
I did, but that's the Themyscira one, is it?
It is, but they described it as, this is a HBO Max series as a Game of Thrones style drama set on the all-female island that is Wonder Woman's birthplace.
I'm just not... and look, that sounds interesting. That really, really does. How much stories can you tell around that island? I don't know that from the comics. I don't know what goes on there.
And I suppose it then carries over as, you can tell a lot of stories, but how much of it carries over into the bigger picture of what you're doing? Unless Wonder Woman is in it, why should we care? Because otherwise then in the next big team up, Wonder Woman will just be like, yeah, there's some mad shit going on back in Themyscira, but we have this big fucking alien here, so I'm just going to fight this guy.
And look, I'm fully prepared to be wrong, and I hope I don't... It's the one that seems the least connected to me at the minute, because Themyscira is this hidden island that I have not heard so much about, aside from brief mention.
Unless Wonder Woman is in it. Like, unless she is also in the series in some form.
True. And you get to learn her origin again, I guess.
I maybe not origin, maybe like her rise through the ranks of how it happened. Something like that. But they probably won't pay like the contract to be movie and series. So you'll probably just end up with like a dramatic series of, as I said, a Game of Thrones style drama, whereas like it's just scheming and political intrigue, which I think could be quite cool. But as I just said, it might be also one that people look at and go, do I need to watch this? If there's so much shit going on, is this valuable to what I'm also bringing into other things?
Yeah, and that's nothing to say that it won't be good. It very likely will, if they put enough thought and effort behind it.
I think it's like the Penguin show for like Matt Reeves, like, or like the police department one, the Gotham Police, like, those shows are like, okay, fair enough, but like, once again, when we watch it, will that carry over to something else? Although, once again, this could be really fucking good. It could just be a really good show that you watch and go, that's real good. That didn't carry over anything else. It's just a good show.
Yeah, I guess. And like, it's there if you want it. No one's forcing you to watch it. Yeah. I hope all of the, like, with the fact that it's HBO Max as well, I hope a lot of it does come internationally in an accessible way. Like, it comes to Now TV in Ireland and stuff like that.
Yeah. So then we also have a Swamp Thing movie coming out. Yeah. And now this is pretty big because they did cancel Swamp Thing already on the series. I think that got cancelled after 4 episodes. Pretty positive.
It got cancelled before the full series was out.
Yeah. But more so than that, we have now learned that the man who directed Logan, Mr. James Mangold, is in talks to direct Swamp Thing, the movie.
That would be pretty cool.
They're doing like a horror style Swamp Thing movie with James Mangold in to direct.
I do like that. I will say I want to see Indiana Jones 5 before I make final judgment on whether I'm excited or not.
But if he can pull a good movie out of that, I mean, we got to trust him with anything. That's
the thing. That would be the ultimate test. And we discussed him a while ago. Like, he's had few misses throughout his career. So hopefully Indiana Jones won't be one of them. Him doing a horror does sound really, really interesting to me.
Yeah, and I mean, like, obviously he had Logan as well, like, and that's a character who's an isolated character who's, like, trying to become better. Swamp Thing is basically that. I think you do a Swamp Thing movie, I think he could do a really, really fucking good one as well.
Yeah, and like with Logan, he wasn't shying away from the gross aspects of Logan, like the blood and the guts and the claw, like, you know, the things that would work in a Swamp Thing horror movie.
Also, really interesting they went straight for Swamp Thing as like a big ensemble, because he's like part of, in the DC, the Green, which is like all of nature, like he's connected it all. It's a bit mystical and a bit, it's like it's very hard to do that straight out the gate, but they're going for it straight away. Like, this is a weird area of, like, a dark area of the DC universe that he's not really going to interact with Superman and Batman and all them, but he's there and you can watch it, and I think it could be really cool.
But will it be as good though as Man Thing from Werewolf by Night, Connor, on the Marvel side of things?
I think it will, yes.
You think so?
Yeah. I mean, Wes Craven directed the first one in like the 80s of Swamp Thing, but I mean, you could do I'd be interested to see how this goes. Then what we also have is a Supergirl movie is also happening, called Woman of Tomorrow. That was announced, and I'm not quite sure if it's the Supergirl that was cast in the Flash movie, or if they're picking a brand new Supergirl for like a recasting. I don't know if that's actually been finalised, but really cool that they're doing like Superman, Supergirl straight out.
Yeah, they're two heavy hitters in terms of like scaling the strength of characters in your universe. Because what's been announced is like Superman, Supergirl, Green Lanterns, Wonder Woman, and then Swamp Thing.
Oh, also, did you hear Dave Bautista said instead of Bane, he thinks he'd like to play Lex Luthor? And I was like, yes, Dave.
I saw someone on Twitter that did Dave Bautista as Hugo Strange. And
also like, great, yeah.
That fits really well, actually.
Yeah. No, I think a Supergirl idea, very similar to Superman, is that it's a fucking great character. Really, really interested. And I think they can be done really well. And I think it works well as like she starts off. It's interesting because Superman will come first. So the Supergirl movie would have to probably be like 2027, 28.
Yeah.
Probably something like that. What you need is an established Superman. So Supergirl turns up and is just like, I'm here too, and then they got to work together. Like, you need some where like then family becomes more important, because now there's two of them and they're the only two that are left.
Yeah, and Supergirl had a different upbringing. Like, she was on a fragment of Krypton that survived and shit like that.
I'm really interested to see how they work on that. Obviously, it's just announced at the minute, so we don't have any further knowledge. Like with the Superman movie, we know Gunn is working on it, like he's writing it, might direct it. Supergirl, we know nothing at the moment.
It's just a plan at the minute.
It's just a plan. And lastly, Sean,
there's no more DC news now. We can move on from that forever.
Is that there will be a DCU project for a character known as Batman.
Batman. He might not know a lot
bathes
about
himself
him, Connor.
in a big bowl of water all the time. And that is Batman. His project, The Brave and the Bold, will follow Bruce Wayne and his son, Damian Wayne, as the dynamic duo as Batman and Robin.
Huge. Okay, so this is going to be the first time we've seen a Robin since Chris O'Donnell, I want to say, in live action.
That is true, yes. Yeah,
not counting Titans.
Well, we've seen the suit.
One counts
we've seen the
Titans.
suit in Batman vs Superman, but that's it.
That's yes. I'm going to throw this to you. What do you think of this announcement?
I think it's real cool. I think it's real good.
Nice.
But also real scared. Real scared. It's going to be bad.
Can't be hurt again. You can't go through it.
Can't be hurt again. So what really interested me was that they said that they're going to be introducing Damian Wayne, who they called a little son of a bitch, an assassin and a murderer. So it does sound like James Gunn knows exactly who Damian Wayne is. Very good start. I also think Damian's like the easiest... He's probably the easiest buy-in, is that Bruce had a son, he grew up in the League of Assassins, he comes back and then he's a murderer but he wants to do good because his dad is Batman. But his granddad is Ra's al Ghul.
It's easier to buy than, this kid's a really good circus performer but his parents were murdered. This kid, also a really good circus performer but his parents were murdered.
But this kid's smart, not a circus performer, but his kids are murdered.
He trained really hard. Now he's basically a circus performer.
So yeah, it's one of those where I was like, they're doing a Batman and Robin movie. What the fuck? No way. And then they were like, they're doing Damian, and I was like, no. And then I was like, wait, no, actually, yeah, that does actually make more sense. And then Sean, my brain thinks, well, I mean, they don't need to do a Robin movie if Nightwing already exists in this universe.
See, this is the thing, is does Nightwing already exist? Have the other Robins happened? Or is Damian the first Robin?
No, I think you got to do the other ones. I think you got to do at least Dick. Because I think that's what brings Damian... When Damian comes in, he's even more annoyed because there's been other people that aren't his son that have been trained, that Bruce trusts more. I think that adds an extra layer to the character. He's like, but I'm literally your blood, and you trust Grayson more than you trust me.
That's a good point. That is a good point. So you're thinking he arrives on Batman's doorstep, they fight for a bit, and then Bruce dusts off the old Robin suit that was left behind and gives it to Damian.
Yeah, and I mean, I love the dynamic of Dick Grayson and Damian Wayne. I think that's one of my favourite dynamics in comic books, the little shithead and the guy who just takes the piss out of him constantly. Yeah. But, I mean, a Batman and Robin movie is so hard to do, but also it makes Bruce such a much better character that I just was like... Jesus, I hope this is good. I so hope this is good.
There's a reason that they keep giving Batman Robins, is that the character works better when he has someone else to fight with or to fight for, even might be a better way
and
to
also
put it.
Then he's a father figure. I think the character of Batman can be very lonely, and I think he's actually so much more layered when he's got a whole family that just go around, and you have this whole thing of he's the head of the table, but they're all trained, they're all and he also trusts all of them, and then you have different dynamics depending on who it is. He's going to talk to Oracle differently than he talks to Tim, than he talks to Jason, than he talks to Dick, than he talks to Damian. Damian, he'll more outright go, that's fucking wrong, because it's actually his son in a weird way.
Yeah, fair. So what if, right, you do The Brave and the Bold? Grand. That's our first Batman movie in this universe. Few years goes by. Under the Red Hood. And you just say, no, it happened. We don't need to see it happen. But it like the animated movie. That's when you introduce the Jason Todd. Nightwing shows up in that as well, I think, doesn't he?
In the Under the Red Hood. Yeah, he's in the story itself, yeah.
Yeah. So that could be a good way to bring in the older Robins as well.
I mean, the way they introduced Nightwing, I'm just doing it from the Nightwing perspective, because I heard Robin and Batman.
That's what you care about.
I heard Robin and Batman, I'm I love the character of Robin. I love Damian, but I could also see it as a link to everything else. And I also love Tim, and I love all these characters. And they've also said that they're introducing the Bat family, which is something we've never seen on screen in any of these iterations. They always just do
Robin,
Batman.
Connor. Batman and Robin. Please, you get Chris O'Donnell canonically playing Dick Grayson, and then you get Alicia Silverstone playing Alfred's niece.
Eve? No, Eve was the name of his ex-wife. I can't remember. But like, this is one of those things where you could really easily do the exact same scene from it's Batman the Animated Series, but actually it's the new Batman Adventures, Shaun. It's Tim gets signed up, he's in training, and finally Bruce is like, or he steals the suit, and then he goes out and he saves Batman, and Bruce is like, okay, you're in, I'm going to train you. And the episode ends with the two of them like in a boxing ring, and Bruce is like, okay, rules are you always say everything I do. Rule number 2, go back to rule number 1, you follow me, no matter what I say, you fucking copy it. And then the scene ends with just a guy walking in from the side, and he like stands beside Alfred. He's like, "That I'd watch that rule. That's the one that caught me out quite a lot." And it cuts to, and then it's Nightwing, and then you see Alfred like, "Oh my God, Master Grayson, what are you doing here?" And like, you have the thing of then it's within one line, you've just built up a whole history between these two characters of like, that's the one that got me. You got to follow everything he says.
Yeah, and it's like he's been through it. He's done all this already, and now he's his own. I like Damien as the Robin. I do think that works. I also think it's a much easier buy-in than Tim. I think Tim is a better character, but I think as a general audience, I think it works better with Damien as the Robin, even though he's a little shithead. And then we can side with Batman's side more to be like, why won't this little shithead just do what he says? Yeah, and it does somehow take the heat off of Batman for endangering children if it's at least his own son that he's doing.
And he's like a trained assassin.
Yeah, like he's fully capable, like he's ready.
And also the drama's so easy in that, like, you have Talia then turn up, and like you have Raish, and you've got Damien has to choose between everyone, and the whole final battle scene is obviously going to be beside the Lazarus pit, and it's just like you got to choose what side of the family are you on, Damien? Are you on the Waynes or are you on the Al Ghuls?
And of course he'll be on the Waynes, and he has to be a nice good boy. It's a lot to ask of whatever kid you get to play Damien, though, because presumably he's going to be like, what, 13?
Yeah, that's another thing. You have to get the kid that doesn't annoy anyone, which is
tough
interesting.
Line to walk.
And they're doing the run. The Brave and the Bold run is based on a run by a certain writer. I don't know if you've heard of him, Grant Morrison. Have you ever heard of him?
He created Aztec, didn't he?
He did actually. One of the greatest comic book writers of all time, Grant Morrison. He wrote The Brave and the Bold, and this is what they're basing off. James Gunn also did a really, really fucking cool thing that I have to give him credit for, is that he released all the comics that all of these ideas are now based off of, which is something that Marvel never do. And I really love the idea of, why not just give the comics more sales to be like, this is what we're basing this off of. It sells out immediately. People go fucking buy it in flocks to go try and get it.
Yeah, there was a thing of like the top 10 selling books in the comic category on Amazon the next day was literally every one that he had mentioned, like Tom King's Supergirl and stuff like that. And
like Marvel do the opposite, whereas they don't release what it's based off of, and then they like release it in like small random numbers in the background of each scene, and you're just kind of like, you'd actually make loads, like get a lot more interaction with people if just like, this is what it's based off of, this is what we're doing, this is it.
Yeah, a lot of the time with Marvel, it's not front and centre. It's either, as you say, hidden in QR codes in the back of scenes, which is a cool little engagement thing, but a lot of the time it's like put out in, people online will be like, oh, this is referencing this, and you can read along and that kind of stuff.
I'm interested to see who they get to take over the Batman. Like if Gunn is doing the directing of Superman, who's doing Batman?
Matt Reeves? Nah, probably not.
We also have Batman Part 2 is coming out, but we all do that anyway. So they announced it, but we all kind of do it. I'm interested. I'm saving my response for any Batman and Robin because it's too close to my heart, Shaun, and I can't. I don't want, like, I don't know who I'm trying to pick, Jared Leto to direct it. If he comes in, then I'm I'm obviously
You're
not
out.
going to be involved.
He's fully out at that point, ladies and gentlemen.
I think that's it for Movie Mondays this week. I think we kind of covered everything.
I think we touched on everything. There was a lot. There was a lot of news, so I think we got most of it. Would you like me to take us out, Conor?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Thank you everyone for listening to this episode of Movie Mondays. We will be back on Wednesday with Weird News Wednesday, Friday with Hero or Zero, and next Monday with another episode of Movie Mondays. Big shout out to everyone over on Patreon who continues to support the show. Special thanks goes to Róisín the Wife Palmer, Joe Burney, Ryan Komatsu, Dozer Enthusiast, Evanson. Fun facts with Waffles: Aotearoa New Zealand has the world's only Alpine Parrot. It's called the Kea, and a flock can strip a car. David Clarke, Shaun Chuck in the wash and It'll Be Grand Jamieson, Dominic, Anna Irish Walrus Forever Hjelmroos, Danny McLaughlin, No One's Ever Really Gone Luke Hoth, Lordsmish, Michelle Browne, Michaela Doughty, Buster, Ed Ball, The Adventures of Indiana Jones and the Franchise That Just Won't Die. Conor and Lorraine had completely forgot to shorten their long nickname until catching up on the podcast recently. Russ, I'm considering moving to a mattress-based diet in an attempt to end Mr. Blobby for good. Parfit, if you don't listen to Weird News, that sentence made no sense. And also to Jackson Bruheim. Thank you everyone for the wonderful, wonderful support. We recently put up a review of Ant-Man, the first Ant-Man movie, on the Patreon if you want to take a listen to that. And we put up movie reviews and TV show reviews all throughout the year. So head on over there if it's something you would like to hear. There is also a merch store link below, heroesforhire.ie/shop. Twitter is @HeroesForHirePod, the 4 is the number 4. Facebook is Detective Divilment's discussion group. Instagram is Heroes for Hire Podcast, and the best way to ever help out the show is to tell one human being that we exist.
Just a one, please.
I think that's about it, Conor.
I think so. So I've been Conor Lorraine.
I've been Shaun Meehan.
And we shall see you all next week, guys.
Bye.
Bye.